Welcome to Rise of the Goddess Collective. I am your host, Michelle Julian, and we are here live on Rise of the Goddess with Sierra Grana, and she is a soul gratifying coach. Now, who does not want to work with a soul gratifying coach? I know I do. And what's really cool about her is that she actually was a massage therapist, similar to moi. As you know, I am still a massage therapist. She is a retired massage therapist, but as all massage therapists know, that once you're a massage therapist, you're always a massage therapist. I'm sure her family's always asking her, can you give us a massage? Right? Am I right?
Yes, all the time.
Exactly. So I am going to share with you her bio so you can get a flavor of what she is doing now in her coaching practice. She is a medium, a speaker who guides leaders, pioneers, and generational curse breakers through the darkest moments to bring them towards their light. Before starting her coaching career, she was a licensed massage therapist and held many upper management positions over a 12-year span. After a successful career, she shifted into what ignited her soul, helping people live in the moment. Very important. With an undeniable divine aura, she has become the go-to person for others who have lost their way. Sierra channels spirit to help create authenticity, freedom, love, and joy with ease. Sierra is a devoted wife and mother who enjoys spending time with her family, cooking. We talked about cooking before we started the podcast. She's part Portuguese and her husband is Italian, so you can imagine the smells in that kitchen. She loves to travel with her family and she loves sports, and she's always available for transformational coaching, healing resorts, which, by the way, we got to talk about that because I'm thinking about doing a healing resort in 2023. And I'd love you to be one of the soul coaches.
Definitely.
So basically, what we want you to know is Sarah is here to share her unique story, because we all are unique beings, right? We all are here on this planet Earth to fill a purpose, whether it is being helpful and kind and uplifting. And I think that's what Sarah really is about. We met many years ago, actually at an event with a woman who has a business called Next. It's called Next on Live.
Next on Scene. Yeah.
Next on Scene.
Yeah.
Media. She has a magazine. Her name's Jackie. And I'll have to send this recording to her. She's gonna love it that we mentioned her. And we met that event and we kept in touch like over the years. And then we kind of, lost each other in not being in touch. But then something happened. The universe brought us together. I don't know how, but the universe does that. And I love that the universe does that. So what I really think that, is unique about Sarah is that if you find you need to learn this transformational energy work, she has the understanding in all the facets, so all of the woo-woo, but she also has the scientific knowledge as well. It's like the medical science of the woo-woo, right? So basically, what I would love you to share is what chapter you are in your life right now, because that's what kind of the goddess guide talks about, is being in a particular chapter of your life, and what is happening as you are evolving as this human being, doing this transformational coaching. Share with us, how that's affecting your life and your business, and how you've innovated from being this, massage therapist to actually doing online coaching.
Yeah. Thank you for having me, first of all. Very excited to be here. As you were reading my bio, it was like my heart was just like fluttering, and it was just a reminder of how far I've come in the journey. My current chapter, I'm going to call it by the years, right? I'm 35 and a half almost. And chapter 35 and a half has been hard. When I first started awakening to this notion of, the spiritual being, I've always been a medium. I've always channeled spirit, but this actual like knowledge of becoming more of a healer side of it. I always envisioned that 35, I would be in my prime. I'd be at the top, like my career would be taking off, my family would be, because my kids are a little bit older now. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll be finally working the dream career, doing what I need to do. And 35 hit me hard. I got pregnant in June. I had a miscarriage in August, and it was just, this downward slope of, oh my God, I thought, this was going to be, we're adding a third baby to our world, and I'm hitting this prime, right? But obviously things happened where it just wasn't meant to be in this moment. But as I process the grief, because that's where I am, I'm in grief, right? I'm grieving. It occurred to me that I'm in this chapter of healing my inner child, like deep cellular healing of this inner child, because that's what you do. We really work backwards in our healing journey. We start where we're at in the moment, and then we start this like backwards, like spiral, I would call it. And we start peeling back the layers. And when I started processing and connecting with my daughter that crossed over, like I kind of asked her, I was like, what happened? Right. And she's like, I was relieving her. And I said, what do you mean you were relieving her? She goes, I was relieving her. And she showed me a picture of me as a child, as a baby. And I said, that's weird. Right. I was like, okay. And then as I processed through it, when my mom was pregnant with me, she lost her father. So one of the first, in like literally a month before I was born, she lost her father. So she was grieving while I was coming into this world. So that was the first emotion that I really felt, was grief. So it's almost like I came full circle to really feel the grief, that loss that was so significant, right? As that mother-father, mother-daughter dynamic. It was just like this unconditional love grief, where it's just like, what, this is such a huge emotion. And it was weird because I didn't process it as deeply as I used to process grief, because my whole life I carried grief. I would just constantly I'd grieve when other people were grieving. I lost a ton of friends at a young age through different accidents and stuff like that. And I've always experienced death. And I was like, why am I always surrounded by, my dad even said to me one day, he's like, you're so young and you've been to more funerals and wakes than I ever have. And I was like, I don't know. It's like my theme in life, right? Grief. But we don't realize how powerful grief is, and how much it can move you, and how many emotions there are wrapped into the grief. And that's what I've really been working on the past 3 months, is just dissecting each emotion, allowing myself to go all in on each emotion, whether it's being angry, right? It's like super angry, being depressed, being anxious, having all of these emotions come up and feeling them fully. But I'm coming now, instead of being that little child, I'm coming from the space of wisdom, right? And experience. And it's actually much easier to process when you are willing to go through it, when you're willing to look at it, feel it deeply, and walk through each, because normally we like to avoid, and we don't want to feel the yucky feelings. But it's opened up so much freedom for me. And it's, as I look back at the first dream that I had when I lost her, where she's like, I was relieving her. I'm like, oh, you're relieving me of this grief, this emotion, right? You're relieving me of this. And now I get to live in freedom. Now I get to be free from all of these yucky emotions that are just have been stored in my body for 35 years. And it was just one of the most beautiful cycles to go through, as hard as it was. You know, and I feel like it's something that I'm always going to feel and go through, and, you know, milestones and stuff will come up, but I've never been able to process the death as easily as I have this one.
That sounds really, really intense.
Yeah.
And I feel like grief is a weird beast,
It is.
and that you were able to really lean into what it was that you were feeling. Because I know myself that I kind of shy away from feeling the grief feelings because I'm afraid that I'm going to get so deep in to grief that I won't be able to come out.
Yeah.
Right? But with all of the practices that you and I have learned, that you don't want to shy away from the dark, right? The dark, the sad,
yeah,
the devastation energy, you know, we would call it. And if we give ourselves grace, give ourselves time to feel all the feelings, eventually we will have wisdom, like you said, from the process, because that's what we are. We're these human, you know, beings, having a spiritual experience at all times. And we're always strengthening that intuition, that gut, no matter what it is that we're going through. So I'm curious, like, with your own intuition, and we talked about this earlier, that you know, we also kind of understand some other aspects like human design, gene keys, and things like that. We have that knowledge that I'm a manifesting generator, which basically says I'm always working.
Yeah.
Duh. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Entrepreneur. Typically workaholic. But in you're a pure generator, so that means you really produce.
Yeah. Always creating.
Yes. Yes. So with that energy, how have you been able to strengthen your own intuition with running your own online business? Because you know, online is way different than offline. It's
right.
You know, and the audience, my audience, is offline, online. So and they're probably thinking, how would I do an online business with the woo-woo, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm shifting more into hybrid now. So I'm opening up an in-person location. But I do online. I started online years ago, 8 years ago, 9 years ago. I started an online in different industry, but similar thing. I was coaching health and fitness. And I shifted this whole time through it. And going through it, right, when you're utilizing emotion and energy online, you have to hold the vibration and the frequency as you're creating and as you're posting and as other people are reading. You have to set the tone, the energetic tone, but also understand that people are going to read it however they want to read it, because you're just, you know, unless you're going live, right, and talking, you're opening yourself up to a broader audience and different views and different cultures and different belief systems. So it's really, I wrote this actually yesterday or this morning, I forget what it was, as a status was, over all these years, my message has never changed. It's just the level of the people that are reading it has changed, right? They're finally hearing me years later. I've been spitting the same stuff for years, right? And it's just consistency. And it's really understanding that, you know, with the grief, and especially as a grieving mom, I've come so close to death many times. I almost died actually when I was miscarrying. I was hemorrhaging out, and a part of your soul goes to the universe, right? Your children are a part of you, right? So it's like I'm kind of in between these worlds right now. I feel very disconnected but connected, like super connected, super disconnected. I want to be disconnected to my human and be with her, but I have 2 living children and I can't do that, right? So I'm like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So my intuition is very heightened. I do channel a lot of messages directly, and it's allowing that anger to create and to transmute into power, into creativity, of the anger of not being able to be out there, but, you know, and still being here. But then I have my kids and they're my world. And it's just like, I'm here. I have to be present. I have to be here now. My purpose is here, right? It's not going out there yet. Clearly, I wouldn't have been here if I wasn't meant to be, right? So it's just using that creativity and using that emotion and using that anger online, but also in person, because now I'm like, all right, I need to get out and meet people. I need to go out and do things, because you can network in groups, right? We're doing it online in online groups, but now I'm starting to shift and starting bringing these people. People want to connect, right? We've been locked away for so long. They want to connect in person. They want to feel the energy. Yeah.
Prison for
yeah, like we were in hermit mode, right? Everybody was healing. They're all in the dark, and now it's like, all right, let's leave a little bit. Let's get outside for a bit. And that's what I've really been focusing on. Kind of coming offline a little bit more. I'm still just putting out the same message online, but trying to pull people away from online and doing in-person stuff. So this is why I do my retreats, because I absolutely love in person. I started doing them in March 2021, and I've been doing them ever since, because the people that need to be there show up and they come out, and there's no difference really, if you understand your own energy between being online and being in person. Like you said, you had to learn how to transmute through Zoom, right? And that took a little bit to get used to. But once you start to master it, once you start to understand that all I need to do is see your face and I can feel your energy, right? It's just, what are you vibrating to me, right? You know, it's the same as in person. It's just, you can physically touch, right? It's that physical touch, that human connection, that skin to skin contact. It just makes a little bit of a difference, you know, from massage, right? The ability to heal. I can heal you through energy here, but it's not as powerful as in person, but it's still powerful because it's source energy, right? So it's like, it matters, but it doesn't matter. I'm in this up and down of things don't really matter and things do matter. So
yes, absolutely. It's so good. I'm so glad that you really explained that to the audience, because I think that people really want to still get their healing if they can't go in person for whatever reason. You know, some people, you know, just are too busy taking care of their family, so it's easier to sign up for an online thing. They don't have to get in their car and drive there, right? So it's nice to actually have this medium of online now. And it's becoming more like, okay, 50-50, you know, 50% online, maybe 50% offline. And like you, I love going and meeting people and talking to people, because it's just a different energy.
yeah.
And like last night, I went to it's a Boys and Girls Club for Boston, and they had a toy drive, and it was across the street at a hotel, and they had the toy drive, and everybody in the Rotary, the Watertown Rotary, was there, and there was people from the Newton Rotary, and just various people were invited to this, you know, event, and everyone just was like so happy to like be there,
Right.
because we all now, we don't take it for granted anymore, right? This is like our new normal of like, oh my God, we're so lucky we're like getting to see each other one-on-one. This is fantastic. You know, you're not like taking it for granted anymore. So people are really appreciating when you come out. It's like, oh my God, what do you do? Like people like come up to you, they're like, what do you do there? They're not quiet. They're like, everybody's now become like an extrovert, because they've been an introvert for, like you said, like 2 years. Now they're like, I can talk and I can ask questions and all of that, you know, and people still are being mindful of their vaccinations and all of that, and taking care of their health. And I think that it's really allowed us to just have more gratitude now when we are able to go out and meet people and see people and connect with people. So I think you're right on about having the retreats and really keep that momentum going, because that's really what is filling your cup up and the people that are meeting you. And I think it's exciting to have that transition to that. So what would you say, for, your own goddess wisdom self, how you learn how to be discerning with your personal and your business life experience? How have you learned that discerning energy?
For me, it's all about intimacy. When you're using discernment, right? How intimate, how close am I going to let you in proximity to me, right? My discernment, my radar is my heart and my gut, right? And for me, it's if it doesn't feel correct up here, maybe it's like a little red flag, and then I'll sink into my heart and really discern of, is this the correct move? Is this the correct, should I be sharing this? Should I be doing this? Right? Because I do share a lot. I do, but there's so many hours in the day, and people are like, you share so much on social. I'm like, but you see a small percentage of my day to day, right? And it's just understanding that not everything needs to be out. You can keep things intimate. Like my husband and I, we've been together for almost 19 years. Like there's things that you guys don't see day to day, right? My kids, my kids are getting older now. They don't want me sharing them as much on social media. So it's, it's just respect and discernment again of, I ask permission. Can I post this? Can I post that? And it's just growth. It's always about growth, because your discernment signals are going to change. And it's really like, this is my number one thing that I tell my clients and my audience is, get out of your head and get into your heart. Because if you're in the head, your head is easily manipulated and can be tricked multiple times, because our brains are so powerful and, they're active in different ways. They could be influenced very easily. Your heart cannot. That's where your soul is. That's where, your truth lies. So it's really just sinking deep into and asking yourself a series of questions, right? Is this correct? What is my truth? What they're saying about me, is that correct? What do I know is the truth? And it's just always coming back home, coming back to your truth. And again, giving yourself grace and compassion, right? Because that's the dark side of discernment, is really just understanding that you might have messed up a little bit. You might be in the wrong. Can you be honest with that? Can you accept that? And that's the discernment of, and I don't say that there's right or wrong, but sometimes you're it, right? The truth. You're like, I really wasn't that nice, or, I wasn't, my best self in that moment.
That's wonderful that, you have that respect with your kids now. They're getting older. My daughter was the same way, like, back in the day, when my daughter was like, like in her teens, like teenager, pre-college. I think as soon as she got out of college, and I didn't really have my business online at that point. I was just on Facebook, just sharing family photos. I remember once she got her job, she's like, I just want you to know, like, I don't really like Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really like Facebook. And if you're going to post something, you're going to have to get my permission. And I was like, okay, no problem.
Yep.
And I'll never forget this one time that I was just so excited because it's her like new job. I was so excited. I took a picture and I didn't ask her. Oh my God. Later, like that month or something, and she was not really a big Facebook person. She said to me, Mom, I saw that you posted. I know you're excited, but remember I told you to ask my permission? I was like, oh, I'm sorry. I forgot.
Yeah. Right. And it's that discernment, right? It wasn't that you were wrong. It was just, over the head, over the heart, right? Or over the heart. But it's not like you did anything bad, right? And it's just like, so you could have gone down the spiral of shame and guilt and regret and stuff. But if you come back to heart, it's like, is she really going to be this mad at me? Right. Was it really that much of a mistake? And it's like, no, it was just a slip, a little slip.
Yeah, well, thank God it was my daughter, because yeah, she does love me, and she
Right.
can bring it from the head down to the heart at times.
Yeah.
But occasionally, there is no bringing from head down to heart. There's just like, rah! You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Not that she is that kind of personality.
Right.
In general, she's a Cancer, I'm a Capricorn.
Hmm.
So she actually is more an empath
Yeah.
than me. I'm an empath too. So sometimes, as mother-daughter relationships go, it was difficult for me to really know how she was feeling, because she kept everything in. She's Cancer, she's quiet. So I had to figure out as a mother how to pull what was going on
Yeah.
with her, and what was uncovered was, wow, she is like a real high sensitive empath. I need to pay attention to this,
Right.
because once you know that, then you can act accordingly, and with discernment and with compassion, you can have a better relationship with your children. And I think that's why it's important to open yourself to this type of coaching, because there's so much more to relationships
Right.
than the fact that they're your children, and you're their mother. And that whole paradigm of like what I grew up was basically my mother would tell me what I should think and feel.
Yep.
And I was breaking that generational cycle with my daughter as a single mother, because I ended up getting divorced very early. So basically I had to learn how to communicate in a different way, not having any kind of modeling. And so having to go deep within my own awareness of my own healing that I needed to do as a single parent, talking about grief and all of what happens with that.
Right.
That it was just so perfect for me to go deep within the personal development of the spiritual wisdom and all of that, and having that information and getting all of that information so I can just be a better person, period.
Right.
I mean, better mother, better person.
Yeah.
Because, I feel just like you have a purpose, you're living the purpose. It's about being with your family. It's about having a fulfilling life from the heart and the soul.
Yeah.
And yeah, of course, you're going to say some things that are not necessarily from the heart, because you're, again, a human being, right?
Yep.
In this world and having a spiritual experience, but you get that wake up call. And I think that, that leads me into the other question would be basically, what would you like your legacy to become?
Oh, that's a good one.
It is, isn't it?
That is a good one. For me, I like if we go into human design, I'm the vessel of love too. That's my reincarnation cross. My purpose is to literally go with the flow of humanity, and is to lead with service and to make sure that everything's in flow. And that's kind of where I came up with the Soul Gratifying Coach title. It's really like my job is to help people live their best life, right? That with a gratified soul, that they leave here with gratitude, and that they live here in this moment with gratitude. Because we are so conditioned to just work through life or walk through life in this conditioned state of, purpose is this bigger thing than us, when the purpose is just to live. Like you're here to live and experience good, bad, negative, positive, whatever the experience is. It's just to breathe, right? Wake up every day with gratitude that you're awake, right? I've had many near death experiences, about 6 of them over my time. And I always come back and I'm like, I'm grateful to be alive. Like I choose to be here. I have my moments where I'm like, get me off this planet, but we have the ability to do so much while we're here. And we are conditioned to do nothing with our time and to sit in in an office space, 9 to 5 every single day, lock into a mortgage for 35 years, spend our money on material things versus traveling the world, getting to know people, meeting people, being outside, taking in nature, right? We look at children, we're supposed to live like children every single day. We look at children and a leaf can blow by and it's the greatest thing that they experience. And that's how we're supposed to live life. We're not supposed to be behind a desk all day. We're not supposed to be miserable. God, I call it God, doesn't want us to be sheltered. And like we said at the beginning of this with the past 2 years of just being stuck inside, we were able to come out and now we're grateful to be out, right? We're grateful to be around people. Some of us rebelled and went out before we were supposed to. And, I did. And it's just like one of those things where we're here to experience all of God's creation, everything. You're not supposed to just sit in a cubicle all day, slaving away. And this is where that hybrid comes in, right? So we have online that we're all becoming entrepreneurs. Everybody can be an entrepreneur and make money online. This is why this is here. This is why social media is here. This is why the internet was created, to have access to everything at the touch of our fingertips, right? And to be able to travel the world and still have money and to be able to still serve people. I can go anywhere. I just moved out of state, right? And now I'm here and I can travel. I do retreats. I can travel anywhere, work from anywhere because I'm remote. And then I can have an in-person place where people can gather and have a community and still have that communal feeling, right? Have that connection. And that's all it is. It's like we take for, granted so much, so much of our lives. And my job is to really demystify this, people call me radical. I think very radically. And I'm like, but your thinking has got you nowhere. It has left you broke, miserable, or stressed out. So I'm pretty, so a friend of mine, I was like, what, he goes, someone was telling me not to work with you because you're just too radical. And I go, okay, and why are you here with me? And he goes, because you look so happy. He goes, you go through so much. He's like, but you look so happy. I go, because I am. I was like, I am happy because I create the life that I want to live. And that's what we're called to do. I could go on about that all day. But.
I love that. I love that so, so much that, even though a person told this person radical, she's so radical. It's like, it's like way out there like that, that's like pie in the sky thinking.
Yeah. Yep.
Because that is the way we as human beings are programmed, that we get a job and we work 9 to 9, actually. It's not even 9 to 5.
Right. I know.
And, by the way, when you get that house, it's going to be a mortgage that is just basically so huge that, good luck actually living and having a fulfilling life and going out in the woods and going for a walk because, your mortgage is so high that, you're lucky if you can take a break. Because, businesses are expecting people actually to work these long hours because it's hybrid. They're like, okay, go do your thing, but you better make sure that you put in the 13, 16 hours that we actually expect you because we are paying you that high, salary. And, so it's a world that is set up to not support a well-balanced life. It's not even available.
Right.
So, and I, like you, had a choice. I mean, I decided that I wanted to work for myself and not work the 9 to 9 jobs. And did I do the 9 to 9 jobs? Yeah, absolutely. In the beginning of my life, in my 20s and my 30s, I did. But then once I got to 40, I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to do this way. And, knock on wood, it worked out. I was able
you're in alignment, right?
Alignment. I was able to buy a house. I was able to bring my child up through this, very complex world as a single parent,
Yeah.
put her through college, put her through, a couple of years to get on her feet. She lived with me for like 3 months when she actually graduated from college. And I said, why do you want to move out? You're saving money, living with me. And she's like, Mom, you're not supposed to live with your mother after a certain period of time. She's like, you're great. She goes, but I'm not going to be your best friend anymore if I stay here.
Yeah, that sounds like my daughter. She's 10, but
Oh my God.
yeah.
Well, my daughter was doing her laundry at 10.
Oh yeah, she's
because
like,
she
I think,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
they know how to load the
Yep.
wash machine and get it done. So,
Mhm.
it's so fun to kind of see how other people think and think that this is the way they need to live out their lives. And then him saying, wow, you look so happy. So I must need to like find out why. Why
Right.
is it that you're so happy?
Yeah. And it's funny because my husband is he's still conditioned. He's still working through, he's going through walking through his awakening process, which it does take a little while. And he's so traditional, right? Like marriage, house, cars, this materialistic. He actually works remote now. And when he went remote, like that was a huge shift for him. And it was a lot to take on. And he's like, this is like completely different. I'm lost. I don't know what to do with myself because like I have all these hours, right? Because you could kind of just, you're not being watched while you're working.
Yeah.
And like, he's like, I have to actually like structure my day and like, make sure that I'm getting things done. And when we moved this summer, I wanted to stay nomadic. I was like, I don't want to buy a house. Like, let's just travel. Let's move around. Let's travel. And he still had a hard time with that. And my kids did a little bit, not too much. He's like, I can't. He's like, I need a house. I need stability. I need I was like, so you need to lock us into a mortgage for 30 years. But you can, that's the thing too, is they don't teach you that you can sell and make money, make a profit on your house, right? Depending on the market, that's a story for another day. But I'm like, all right, fine, let's find a house, but it has to have everything that we want and that we need. And it has to it's not going to be materialistic. It's not going to break the bank. Like we just need somewhere to just have a home base. And then I'm traveling. So, and it's just really, is that compromising, that compassion, even like you said with your daughter, like you compromise with her in a way of like, you can live here for a little while. And she's like, all right, I know that, but I need to move here. Right. And so it's just, establishing your needs and being vocal about your needs too. Right. She was vocal with you about her needs. And that's, like I said, I was like, I need to travel. Like I am nomadic and my soul is a wanderer. Like I need to be free. I can't be tied down to things. And he's like, fine. He's like, we'll buy a house and then you can travel every month. And I said, okay. Right. So it's like because we were going to do the RV thing and I was like, I don't want to be too close to you guys all the time. But, and it's just being honest, right? It's being honest, like and that's what I ask my clients, the first call that we always have together. I'm like, if you could have the Disney dream life, what would you do every day? Like, how would your first day look? And, and it's, people can't tell me. They have struggled to say this because it's a fantasy, right? And then we work through and make it a reality and they're like, holy crap, how did we do that? Right. And it's just choices. It's just really choosing to break free from habitual patterns and conditioning.
Yes, absolutely. We could talk all day about breaking through patterns. And then some, maybe we'll have a separate show.
Right.
But let's let the audience know how they can get in touch with you, how easy it is to get in touch with you and how quickly it is to get in touch with you, because people are not patient when they want to know, how do I work with this woman? So, and I'm going to put in the notes so people know the Facebook links and the social links and the website links. So what's the easiest peasiest way to get a hold of you?
Easiest will probably be my Facebook, Ciara Grana. It's just my name, my personal page. Second would be Instagram, Ciara Grana Coaching.
Okay.
I'm the one that answers. So if you DM me, it's me. Talk to you.
Yes, you actually do respond to direct messages. And I find that direct messages is very similar to our cell phones.
Yeah.
It it's really easy to communicate through
Mhm.
Facebook Messenger. I'm teaching a lot of my clients
Yep.
this, and they never even knew it existed. Some people don't even know that Facebook has this
I love it.
messenger thing. And then their first question is like, who can see it? I'm like, nobody.
Nobody. I do
Nobody.
everything, my whole business is basically in Messenger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like
Yeah.
the coolest portal that I really didn't really know that much about either until I really started going online more and more.
Mhm.
So that's cool. You DM her and you can get on her calendar.
Yep.
Do you offer like, free clarity sessions just to make sure that you want to work with this person kind of thing? Or is there like a tea chat or something?
So I used to do that a lot, but I get super busy with that. So literally, if you're on my social, you can message me. I can chat with you quickly on there, or you could just follow. I post everything, so you can follow my social media, and you'll kind of get a vibe of me. If you have questions, my DMs are open, so it's really that's where I do most of that. I don't get on Zoom much I don't do free discovery calls anymore. It's just I'm too busy to do that. So I'm mindful of my energy and your energy and my time.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think that that can happen. That happened to me when I first started doing the
Yeah.
online transition. I was like, oh my God, I had like 7 tea chats a day. And I was
Yeah.
like, that's a lot.
Well, because you're still providing a service, right? And I do once in a while, like this month, I actually I'm offering free coaching. So I have a call in a little bit of a free open coaching. So I'll invite some people onto that, but I try to keep it very limited because I do have a life outside of my work.
You do. You
Yeah.
do. And it's good to have those boundaries because that's taking care of yourself. That's part of your human being spiritual experience is like,
Mhm.
I can say no, and you can get my energy through all of you do
Exactly.
offer a lot of free resources,
Yeah.
just talking and sharing. I mean, I
Mhm.
think that, that's why people love going online because they do get a lot of free,
Yeah.
like knowledge.
Right. And I
Very,
keep a lot of my programs low cost too, because I was there, right? I didn't have money to invest in myself back in the day. And so I keep everything very low cost. Everything's usually under $200 for most of my offerings, because I want to help as many people as I can.
I love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for being on Rise of the Goddess Collective. And I look forward to talking to you about potentially doing a retreat together in
Yes, definitely.
2023.
Let me know.
So, is there any one last thing you want to say before you go?
Yeah. My biggest advice is slow down to speed up. Life is to be enjoyed, not rushed.
Ooh, I like that.
Thank you.
That's good. That's good.
Thank
I
you.
like that a lot.
Thank
And mine is your activation is my activation.
you. Yeah. True.
Bye for now.